Today I'm going to demonstrate one of the really amazing things about BigML, which is its ability to handle very wide datasets with hundreds of attributes in them. And I actually came across this dataset on the internet. It's called the General Social Survey, and it's a very wide-ranging survey that's been given in the United States every other year since 1972. And it asks literally hundreds of questions about all aspects of people's lives. The good folks at StatWing have been kind enough to host this data on their site. And so I'm just going to copy the link of this data. And I'm going to paste this link into BigML, and I'm going to call this Social Survey. And when I click the Create button, BigML servers actually fetch the data from the third-party servers. And so this is a really cool feature that lets you fetch data from other machines instead of just uploading it from your own. I go in, you can see that BigML is almost done downloading. And we're done. So you can immediately see that there are a lot of fields. There's actually 406 fields in this data set. And if I just page through it, you get a sense for just the scale of this survey and just how many different questions they're asking about all aspects of life. So I'm going to convert this raw data into a data set. I'm just going to do one-click data set. And here BigML is analyzing each of these 406 individual fields so that it understands its distribution and can make intelligent decisions when training a model. And so it's done crunching through all those 406 fields and understanding the distribution of each field so it can make intelligent decisions when training a model using BigML's algorithm. And so I've got this data set, and I mean, I can page through it and I can see all these different fields. And one of the fields that looks pretty interesting to me is income. So I can go here, and this text box actually lets me search through the different fields, and I can actually search for income. Here I can see that there's a numeric field for family income. There's also this categorical field, which if you dig into it, you can see it's based on the quartile. But I'm interested in the numeric income. So I'm going to pick that as my target variable. And then I'm going to turn off some of these other fields that are closely related to the one I'm trying to predict so that I don't get too much overlap. And I'm just going to do create model. And there we go. Now for a numeric target variable, like we have in this example, it's actually really interesting to look at it in a sunburst view. If I shade it by prediction, the prediction here, again, this is the output that we're trying to predict, which is income. You can see it goes from kind of bright turquoise here on the low end up to this black on the high end. And so basically brighter means lower income and darker means higher income. You can see the model is already finding some patterns here. If I look over here, I see that the first most important variable that the model picks is the highest grade completed. If the highest grade completed is more than 15, meaning that you have at least 3 years of college, then we predict that your income is going to be $93,000. If in addition to that you're married and older than 33 and working full-time and don't self-identify as working class, then we predict your income is going to be almost $150,000. Over here on the other side, if I want to look at the lower end of the scale, if you completed less than grade 15, so in this case that would mean junior year in college. So if you completed less than 3 years of college, if you're not currently married, if you're not working full-time, if you're older than 22, and then if you look at the top there where it says highest grade completed, you can see that this is now a group of people who didn't finish high school. Now we've found ourselves at the low end of the pay scale. And so this is really just such a fascinating set of patterns that this model has found. It's really cool that we can actually visualize a numeric target variable in such an intuitive way and zero in on the patterns that are really interesting. So now I want to go back and I want to actually change this model so that instead of numeric income as a thing it's trying to predict, I actually want to try and split these survey respondents into two classes. One that's making less than $50,000 a year and one that's making more than $50,000 a year. $50,000 a year being roughly the median income in the United States. So I'm going to go back to my data set. And I'm going to take that family income number and actually, just for convenience, give this a shorter name. And I'm going to create a new field that's based on family income. I'm just going to call it family income category. And I'm going to type this custom expression in here. So this is actually maybe a little bit more complicated than I would expect a typical user to do. We're working on giving this a more intuitive interface. But the short version is I'm taking this family income field and I'm splitting it into two groups, making more than $50,000 and less than $50,000 a year. And I just click Create Dataset, and BigML goes through and it is going to create that new field for me. And we're done. So now I'm going to train another model. I'm going to configure the model here. It defaults to the field that I just created. And again, I'm going to turn off some of these fields that I expect to have a lot of overlap. So these different income fields here. I'm also going to turn off the family income field itself. That's going to certainly have a lot of overlap. Actually, there's also this field here about your impression of your family income versus others. I'm going to get rid of that too. And now I'm just going to do create model. And here we go. And again, I'm going to switch to the sunburst view because it's a really quick way to find patterns in data. And if I go to shading by prediction, so less than 50K is dark blue, more than 50K is light blue. You can see that I have a whole side of the tree here that is light blue, so higher income, and a whole side of the tree that's dark. If I look at this, I see that over here on the right, it's the group of people that are married. Over here on the left are the people who are not married. So let me zoom in on the married half of the respondents. You can see that this is mostly light blue, which means more than 50K. I'm going to switch to confidence view. And this actually lets me see how strong a pattern I'm seeing in my model. The great thing about the sunburst is we just have to look for the longest arcs, so they're the brightest green, and those are the most interesting patterns. And so here we are. Again, this whole group of people is people who are married. And if you at least finished high school and at least finished a couple of years of college, and if you don't identify yourself as working class or lower class, and if you aren't retired yet, and if you're not just starting out at age 26, then we predict pretty strongly that you're going to be making more than $50,000 a year. Almost 86% of the respondents that fall into this group are making more than 50K a year. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, look at those rules on the right side, and you see what a big factor marital status, education, and age all play in predicting what your income is going to be. So there's also a group of people down here that are also predicted to be making more than 50K. I switch back to confidence view. I can see that here's a bright green arc. If I mouse over that, you see the rules appear on the right here. These are people who are married, who didn't complete college but had some college. Their spouse works full-time. They're over age 28. And they're not terribly unhappy with their situation. If you read that last question on the right there in the light blue, it says that they're not at all satisfied. And so that's actually a good thing. And you can see here that about 72% of these people are making more than 50K. That increases to almost 75% if their spouse has finished high school. So again, you see these same indicators pop up. You know, marital status, education, age, and here we see the education of your spouse also plays a role. And so it's really interesting to just go through here and look for these patterns. And in the interest of time, I'm not going to go down the other side of the tree, the people who aren't married, but you get the idea. And again, switching to confidence view, you can see all these interesting patterns, all these bright green arcs that BigML is finding. And that's it. With just a few mouse clicks, I downloaded a dataset from a third-party website. I analyzed it. I created a new field as my target variable. And this really shows off some of the features here. Again, the download by URL feature, the ability to search quickly through field names, the fast model training on a very wide data set that has 400 plus fields, the ability to create custom fields right in the tool, and last but not least, the visual insights with the sunburst, both for the numeric output, which was the first model that we trained, and also the categorical output.